So I just got Back to the Future 4K Steelbook edition yesterday. I got the Steelbooks mainly because of what the Steelbooks do when you put them together. You've got the DeLorean formed from 1 to 2 to 3, and then it also has each section in each time period, which is pretty darn cool. And then there's also the fact that I just really like Steelbooks. And I see they were going for kind of a similar theme with the cover here, which is the only real issue I have with it and why it looks a little forced. I think it's just because you have Marty here and they're just trying to, force that separation between him and Griff and Doc Brown from the second one and the third one. But overall, this is just the main box that comes in, so it's not really that big of a deal. All right, and then you have, I'm not a huge fan of these, but you have these separators for each movie. Now, it's not a big problem because typically you're just going to take out one at a time anyway. They're kind of hard to get in. The second one's a little hard to get out because you have to tip it over. But that's not too big of a deal. But let's say you do have all three out at once, you still have to put each one in one at a time. So it's kind of a hassle, but overall this is really nice packaging. I like that. And these are some of the first films to be re-released on 4K that I've bought, which has new features on them. Usually the old features just copy over, and that's the case. All the old features have copied over from the other Blu-rays. Those are still on there, but there's another Blu-ray disc in the part 3 box which says over an hour of new stuff, and that's really cool. I haven't watched all of them yet, but it has some pretty good stuff. It has a tour of the Hollywood Museum, which has some good stuff in it, and that's just an ad for it, basically, of course, but it's still really cool to see. And it has some stuff that I think a lot of people probably have already seen, but they're still new to this disc set. Now, I did watch all three of these movies, and I'll have to admit it's one of the only trilogies where I could actually sit down and watch all three movies back to back after I start the first one. Of course, the picture quality is fantastic. The image, of course, is bigger because it's scanned in 4K, so you get a lot more detail. You can really see the shadows and just how well Dean Cundey, who shot all three of these, works with shadows. And of course, like with most of these 4Ks, there were some little things that I noticed that I hadn't before. Not too much because I've seen these movies so many times, but I don't know if I'd say I didn't notice this before, but I probably just didn't really think about it before. In the third one, the train that Doc Brown turns into a time machine, the big lights on the back, they kind of look like the font, like the Back to the Future font with that curve. So that's kind of cool. That was a cool little touch. Now, the other box set just has the sleeves where the discs go into the sleeves. It's very much like the Jurassic Park one here, also from Universal, of course. And a lot of people just don't really care for that because it is kind of tricky to get out the discs. You have to, you have to get your finger underneath, so getting it out's hard. I mean, you can, look at that, just tip it over. But you still have to be pretty careful with it, And then putting it back in, tip that over, right, so it doesn't, the other one doesn't fall out. But putting it back in is not that difficult. You just put it back in like that. No real, as long as you do it properly, there really isn't any risk of scratching the discs or anything. Okay, so one other thing I really wanted to talk about. We all know DVD menus have evolved over the years. Animated backgrounds, still backgrounds. But now they have gone to this menu system, which is, it's not bad. It's a very traditional menu system in a way. It just sort of looks a little odd because you've got the background image, as is typically the case, and then on the bottom you've got, play and scenes and languages, setup, bonus, whatever it is they have at the bottom. It's always somewhat different. But the weird thing is that on the right hand side they have a list of the bonus features. Well, it's not a list, it's actually, they've got little windows with clips or still frames of those bonus features, and then at the top it says bonus. So there's no real need for the bottom bar to have a thing that says bonus. So either you can go to bonus, where it says that, hit the OK button and it takes you to the side, or you can just go all the way to the side. Just another really weird touch that they have done, which I'm not quite sure why they just completely change everything. It doesn't even seem to be, like I said, because it's Universal Columbia, so it doesn't seem to be specific to any studio. Universal also used to do a different kind of menu system where you had this curved bar. This was for the 100th anniversary of Blu-rays. They had this curved bar on the side, and it would just sort of go step by step as you go to the next thing, scenes, and then you go to the next scene, or bonus or whatever, and then it just takes you to that. So the evolution of that is just a little odd, but it's just a minor thing. That's not a big deal. So I recommend getting this while you can. I was debating whether or not I should get it now or wait till Black Friday. I don't think it's so limited that I couldn't, but I thought, I got the money right now, so why not? I'm just buying that. Okay, so the Back to the Future Steelbook box set is the one I really highly recommend. All right, thank you very much.